Welcome back, everybody. This time we are going to practice a brand new tax return in Slayer. There's two ways to start. Either you enter the Social Security number on this box here, or go on the quick menu, hit number one and hit enter, and it will take you into the 1040. For sake of the training video, we're gonna make a fictitious social. And it's going to ask you, do you want to create a new return? We're going to click yes. It automatically brings you to the filing status. You're going to choose the applicable filing status for this person. For this one, we're going to do single. And it's going to ask you the name, the last name, and it's going to ask you to enter the Social Security number again. The date of birth. Occupation is optional. Most states do require, so if you have it, enter it. The address, apartment number, and the zip code. The zip code usually is gonna generate the city, so this is a shortcut. Enter the telephone number from the client data sheet. The email address is super important. This is what TaxSlayer is gonna use to send a copy of the tax return once you have it finalized. We're gonna click OK. It's gonna take us out. Just making up a number. Now, this is the personal information. You can come back to this page anytime. You can put the occupation here. If you have to mark this return that they're dependent on somebody else's return, you go here. If they're blind, if they're deceased, this is where you go. And if you answer yes, you gotta enter the date of death. If they're a student, it will take you into a different menu where you are to fill out the college that they go to in order to take the deduction applicable to students in college, the driver's license. It's just going to ask you to fill out information. ID protection pin. This is the pin generated by the IRS. Certain clients, it's mandatory that they enter it. They get it from the IRS themselves, the IRS website. The return is gonna reject if you don't have an ID pin. You can always update their information if they have military address, and then exit. That's fine. So that's fine. Do you want to enter the dependents now? Let's click on yes. So let's say this is a single person who has a dependent. Date of birth, let's say 2023. Social Security. The relationship. It's normally defaulted to 12 months. In order to be a dependent, you know that you have to be living with the taxpayer 6 months or more. Qualifying dependent care expenses for dependent. The system is recognizing that this is a child under 13, so it's asking if there's any dependent care expenses. It's gonna ask you whether they are a US citizen in order to qualify for the credits. If it's a full-time student, this is the dependent information menu. You'll be able to see this again if you have to change it for any reason. If they're married, if you forgot to put the identity protection PIN for the dependent, this is where it goes. If for this year, this taxpayer it's unable to claim the, let's say, the child, you have to change it just because they're alternating with their ex-spouse, and this is where you change it. You will change it to no. Do they enroll in the marketplace? The marketplace is anybody who has insurance through Obamacare or anything other than an employer. If they have a form 1095-8, you have to mark it yes in order to fill out the corresponding form. Most people are going to be no. Now you're able to go back into this menu from here. You have to change anything. You have to add a second dependent. You have to change the preferred code. You have to change the filing status. You then verify that the head of household. You change it to head of household. And then you have to always answer the due diligence questions. Have you determined that their taxpayers are married and they provide more than half of the cost of keeping up the home for the year? And the answer should be yes. Do you want to enter W-2s? So it's kind of guiding you the basic information for the 1040. This is where you go and enter the EIN from the W-2. Let's make one up today. Let's say they work for Ford. Ford is located in C Street. In Weehawken, New Jersey. The wages that they earn were $10,000. They withheld $1,000 worth of taxes. If they're a New Jersey resident, always fill out the New Jersey part first. Get the EIN for the New Jersey side and the taxes withheld. It's gonna ask you to auto-populate the unemployment and disability insurance information. Yes. The way that I want you to do this first, box 1, and then go to box 15 is because line 14 is gonna auto-populate in order. This needs to be the same order. If they have more than one W-2, it makes a difference when all this information is pulled to the state side. They have more than one state because they're either New Jersey resident and work in New York, or whether they are in New York resident and work in New Jersey. This is where you do it. Let's say this person lives in Weehawken. I'm sorry, they live in New Jersey. The company is headquarters in New York. And you have to see what amounts are being taxed for New York and what amount are being taxed from New Jersey based on the W-2. It's going to ask you if there is any local or city tax, if they're a resident on New York City or Yonkers, Brooklyn. If so, line 24, the taxes withheld in the locality have to be entered. I'm just going to do it as an example. It has to be on this same line because this is the state that is asking for this information. New Jersey doesn't have that. New York does have it, depending on where the client lives. So let's say, just making up numbers. Let's say $200 and they paid New York City. They paid $10 in taxes. So I have to specify that they're from New York City. Again, this is going to be on your W-2 form. So based on what we have, we know that this is a two-state return. This is your due diligence. They have to be filled out before the tax is finalized. For now, I'm going to skip it. This is your tax menu. Personal information, we already did that part. The income, we saw that part where you're able to enter the W-2, create a Schedule B, enter any alimony, create a Schedule C, Schedule Ds, additional IRA distribution, contributions, Schedule Es and K1s, Social Security benefits, and any other income. Miscellaneous income that does not belong into a Schedule C goes in here, so it could be pulled forward onto Schedule 1. It's asking me to do due diligence. I don't want to do them now, so I'm saying no. Adjustments is usually education expenses for teachers, anything related to HSA, self-employment taxes, quarterly taxes, prepaid, paid alimony. So these are adjustment to income, that menu. Again, it's asking me to do due diligence. I don't want to do them now. Miscellaneous form is where you go for amendments or a married filing joint, a married filing separate comparison, extensions, power of attorneys, things like that. Let's do the states. For this client, we're going to say that they are a New York resident. For New York, you have to fill out this part. If not, it's not going to go through. So they are a New York long-term resident. Did they live in New York? I'm gonna answer yes, because based on the W-2, we told the system that they do. And we answer the questions. How many days spent in New York City? 365. Did they work in Yonkers? No. Is their address different from the mailing address? Gotta answer accordingly. If there's any adjustments to make, this is the New York tax return, the menu. It's telling you that they're getting a $503 refund already. You want to mark it electronic. And then you're going to do a New Jersey return. New Jersey is not working right now for me, but normally you go into the New Jersey return and you choose non-resident return for New Jersey. Right here, it will show you the states, New York, and it will allow you to change it to New Jersey. I'll give you an example. Let's go back to states. Let's say that this person actually lives in Delaware. So they're a non-resident from Delaware because we told the system that they live in New York. They work in Delaware. So let's make this income Delaware instead. So they live in New York and earned income from Delaware. So you have to do 2 states and you have to specify which one they're from. I'm gonna go back to the Delaware one. And they're gonna get a small refund based on their W-2. Okay, so here you have the federal AGI that states that you're doing. You'll be able to change it from state to state to see either a balance or a refund. Balance show in red, refund show in green. I'm sorry, in black. And this is the federal refund. The 1040 and TaxSlayer, it gives you an overview of what you've done so far. And it's telling you that the kid qualifies for the child tax credit. They're under a year old. Their W-2 income. All these boxes, you can click on them. So let's say that you have 1099 INT. You're able to search for forms. 1099 INT. Will bring you to that menu, Schedule B, 1099 transactions. We're going to create an interest from Bank of America for $35. You can go here and enter the EIN from Bank of America. Do you have any other ones? If you do, you enter them. If not, just get out of it. You gotta answer all this due diligence question. Depending on your answers, it's gonna calculate EIC. Did any other information provided by the taxpayer appear to be incorrect after you're doing your due diligence? Did you satisfy the retention keeping? Did you ask the taxpayer whether they have documentation that they're eligible for the head of household? Of course, this is part of your interview. Did you ask them if any of these credits were disallowed? Were any of the credits disallowed? Did you explain to the taxpayer the child tax credit or the exemptions? Did you explain the rules? Did you certify that all of the answers were, that all of the questions were answered to the best of your knowledge? Doing the due diligence, it just calculated EIC, so it's adding to the refund. You're able to double check that here. And income credit, they're getting an additional 3,409 plus the refundable credits based on their AGI. Anytime you do changes to the federal side, you have to go back into the states and recalculate them. So we said this is 500, stay the same. New York was 503. Let's do it again. Now they're getting 2,378 because of the EIC. So it recalculates New York. Anytime you do changes to the federal, you got to go back into the states and recalculate them. The diagnostics warning is super important before you say that you can complete the return. This is going to tell you what's necessary. It's going to give you warnings. It's going to ask you to do due diligence. It's going to ask you for any other forms that may be necessary. So you have to read this part before you can send it to me or Marsha for review. Once you're done with the tax return, you got to mark it electronic for e-filing. Right now, we haven't marked this, so it's just regular tax. This is the section where it tells you the preparation fee so far, the time spent on the return, and their effective tax rate. Let's mark this electronic. Direct deposit, not a bank product. There's going to be a few options here. It's going to say direct deposit, not a bank product, direct deposit, bank products. This is where we do the, we give them the option for their preparation fee to come out of their refund. It's going to show on here. If they don't want to do a direct deposit and they just rather do a check, you choose this option. It's going to show the signature, the ERO. Do you want to view the 8879? Yes. The system automatically generates a PDF. This PDF needs to be emailed to the taxpayer for their signature. They'll email it back to us and we could keep it on record once the tax return is done. You gotta let the receptionist know to send this email out. For now, we're gonna exit out of it. Now the federal type we changed to electronic mail. Electronic mail. Let's change it to direct deposit. Let's say this person wants to do a direct deposit. We gotta get their routing number. You gotta double check this information with the taxpayer. Make sure we have the correct account number and routing number. for the direct deposits. If the client has a balance, you're able to do the same thing, but instead of being a direct deposit, it will be a direct debit. It's just not recognizing because it's fake. The diagnostic warning is letting you know that the states are done, but they're not marked for electronic, so you have to go back and mark them electronic. You go into the electronic menu. Do you want to file the Delaware State electronic, whether yes or no? If you already put the correct information for a direct deposit onto the federal, it's going to pull forward and it's going to show you on here. Just double check it. And same thing for New York. You go into the electronic information, but New York is not going to let you without a driver's license, so you have to get a driver's license. To view a return, it's always on the left hand side on the tax menu. You go view results, line 11. You do line 2, print return. Double click it. It's going to give you one copy of the federal, one copy of the states. It's going to generate a PDF. Yes, we want to generate a PDF. For every single taxpayer, there are recurring clients, which means if we are preparing a 2023 tax return, most likely we already did a 2022 tax return. For everybody, I need you to open TaxSlayer 2022 and check the forms and compare. It's gonna basically guide you to see if there's a form, there's a schedule that may be missing. This is a copy of their tax return, 8879 for them, a copy of their 1040, second page of the 1040. Schedule B, because we did interest, and income credit because we did the child, 8867 or due diligence. And then it's going to show you the states. This is a Delaware return, and this is a New York return, New York City State return. You'll have the option to save it, to print it. For now, I just wanted to show you. If you want to generate any other form, let's say an invoice, another copy of the 8879 to have because they're in the office and you want them to sign it right there in front of you. If you're doing just the states for some reason, they have to mail in the states. They're only e-filing the federal, and you will have to mail in the state. You go to the state forms, generate the PDFs, and have them sign it with a wet signature. So this is basically your print menu. TaxSlayer is pretty easy. It allows you to search by form. So let's say that you want to do a Schedule C. You'll find it here. You don't have to go crazy looking for it on the top menu. Schedule D, Schedule E, any other tax form, a sale of home. This is the Obamacare. It's asking you to go change it if you want to fill that out. But here is basically the easiest way. If you have a form in front of you and you've never done it before, you could just search by the form or the schedule on the form finder side. Every form that you've done and prepared and completed for this particular tax return is going to show you on this side. So it's letting you know that you already did the due diligence, the 8879, the EIC, there's a Schedule B, there's a W-2, and there's 2 states. Normally, if you need more information from the client, you open last year's tax return and you know that they have a Schedule C. They are an Uber driver, for example, but then in Scandocs or Atom, you don't have any information yet. I will just make a quick note on here. Emailed client for Schedule C information. And then I will let the next person know what's going on with this. If there's nothing else and this is a simple tax return, you're done with this return. You marked it for e-filing. This is the preparation fee. If you need to enter a payment amount, see the person already paid, what type of payment method, whether it was a check, MasterCard, Visa. It will ask you for the date that it was paid. The refund amount, you have to mark email in order to be able to send it by email. This is going to be the exit menu. If you clicked it by mistake or you just wanted to enter a payment and go back into the tax return, you go edit the client tax return and it takes you back into the 1040. That's it for this training. I'll see you on the next one.